Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and the rumors coming up here on today's show. Kolton Miller extension. Is it coming soon? We got a little bit of an update on Miller that I'm excited to be able to talk about. Ashton Jeanty, is he going to win Rookie of the Year? And then at the very end, is Amari Cooper coming to Las Vegas? A lot of rumors right now involving Cooper and the Raiders. How much of it's smoke? How much of it is actually, just blowing smoke? If you don't already know, I want you to join the Raiders Report family. If you're looking for news, for rumors, all off season long, I promise you I got you covered. I know May, June, and July is rolling in here, but here's the thing. You're going to get a video on every day in May, video every day in June, video every day in July. I'm going to work extra hours before my wedding, before my honeymoon, to still make sure that you're going to get content. I got commitment to excellence, and I hope that y'all do too. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. That way, you never miss a thing. Let's talk about here Kolton Miller, because a lot of rumors, a lot of worry around Miller, and is a contract extension coming soon for him and the Las Vegas Raiders? I'm going to give this one 3 just win babies, and I'm going to say that it's pretty likely that it's coming up here in a little bit. The number one date that you got to keep in mind is May 19th. That's when, May 19th is where you got to start showing up to camp, but then June 10th is when everything becomes mandatory. But here's the thing. I said up here on this show, and I said that I talked to Miller, it was before the NFL draft, and I said I didn't really get the vibe talking to Miller that he was really worried about holding out, demanding a trade, and there was a lot of speculation going into the NFL draft. I don't know if you saw this picture, but yesterday Kolton Miller was at workouts, and it's voluntary workouts. If Kolton Miller is at voluntary workouts after the NFL draft, I think that tells you everything that you need to know around Miller and what he thinks of this organization. He wants to be a Raider. He wants to be a Raider for life. Does he still want a contract extension? Yes, he does. But I also know the fact that he was there at practice. That is very telling. He still wants that new contract. He's got $0 million guaranteed on his contract with 1 year left, but I do know that the Raiders are working on it. And because I know that the Raiders are working on it, I know that this is going to be something that gets done sooner rather than later. When I said, is the extension coming? Is it coming this week? Maybe. Does it come next week? Maybe. Does it come the week after that? Maybe. But I know that a lot of people were worried leading up to the NFL draft, but essentially what I was told was the Raiders focused on free agency. They focused on getting Geno Smith. They focused getting that contract extension done, and then they put all their time and their energy into the NFL draft. And I don't know if you heard how many prospects John Spytek ended up looking at. He was looking at nearly 1,500 draft prospects. And then when you go back and you look at the NFL draft in general, I'm very proud of Spytek. I'm very proud of Pete Carroll. I'm very proud of this regime. But I do think that the Raiders are going to get a contract extension done with Kolton Miller here in the next few weeks. And this is why I believe that this is going to end up happening. The very first reason of why I could see Kolton Miller and this contract end up getting done is Miller is still a legit outside, out offensive tackle. This is still somebody that's playing at a high level, and I don't know why people think that he's so old. It's probably because he's been a member of this organization since, 2018, but Kolton Miller is still playing a high level of football, which I do think is really, really important to go out there and think about. I mean, last season, yeah, he struggled in the first 6 games, but when you want to talk about from week 6 to week 18, Miller gave up only 1 sack, which I think is really important to say. Also, his 2024 PFF grades, an 80.6 overall, an 82.2 pass blocking grade, a 71.1 run blocking grade. I mean, that's 13th best in the NFL according to PFF. And because Spytek values the offensive line and building in the trenches, why the hell would you get rid of your best offensive lineman? Well, your best tackle. I don't know if he's still the Raiders' best offensive lineman because JPJ is actually a dog. The other reason why here I think that you could end up getting this extension done is you traded for Geno Smith. You didn't trade for Geno Smith to put him back on a bad offensive line. I understand the Raiders went out and drafted Caleb Rogers. I understand the Raiders went out and drafted Charles Grant. But neither of those dudes is ready yet to protect Geno Smith's blind side. And it doesn't make any sense to trade for Geno unless you have a solid offensive line. And he is such a better quarterback when he believes in his left tackle. I mean, hell, Smith was sacked 50 times last season. Smith was sacked 31 times the year before that, 46 the year before that. It is really, really important to protect Geno Smith's blind side, and I know how important Pete Carroll values Geno Smith, and to get the best version out of Geno, you need to make sure Kolton is an offensive tackle. The final reason here of why I know this deal is going to end up getting done is he is a great leader, and he might not be the most vocal person out there. And in today's day and age, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I need you to show up, get your job done. And the fact that he's showing up during voluntary workouts tells me that he's doing the right things to prove to everybody that he is a leader of this football team. He's been a captain for the last 3 seasons on the Raiders. I know that he's a great teammate. I know that he shows up for some of his other teammates. I mean, I can remember I did a competitive eating contest against Jermaine Illuminor. Kolton Miller actually just randomly showed up and said, hey, I'll participate as well. He ended up doing the eating contest with us because it was for charity. The year before that, I did one against Jonathan Hankins. He ended up showing up to that because he shows up for his teammates, and I know how important Pete Carroll and John Spytek value guys that not only love football, but are a part of building something special, and that's what Miller really does truly want to do. So to me, I look at what Miller brings to the table, and I go back and I look at some other contracts out there, and I'm going to continuously say that I believe the Kolton Miller contract extension looks something like 2 years, $41 million, with $31.0 million guaranteed, which then when you tie that to his deal that he already has, that 1-year contract, it looks something like 3 years, $56.7 million. $31 million of that is guaranteed, and this ties him to Max Crosby. It ties him to Geno Smith. It ties him to Pete Carroll, because all of those guys and coaches have 3-year contracts with the Raiders. If you're trying to build for the future, Kolton Miller needs to be a part of that project. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to talk about Ashton Jeanty, because when you draft a running back as high as what the Raiders did, you already know the offense of the rookie of the year numbers are going to be going out there left and right. And I'm somebody that likes to look at the latest odds from Vegas, no doubt about it. But it's Ashton Jeanty going to win Rookie of the Year. I got to give this one only 2 just win babies, and I would say that it's a coin flip. But in all honesty, I think that this is probably the right way to do it. And I say that because in today's day and age, quarterbacks get this award. Honestly, wide receivers have won this award more. In fact, the last time a running back won Rookie of the Year was Saquon Barkley back in 2018. Also the year before that, I want to say Alvin Kamara won it in that year. But as it stands right now, Jeanty is the favorite to win NFL Rookie of the Year. And I also think that the way that the Raiders drafted this season, they proved that this is a team that's building around Jeanty. The Jack Besh pick is a wide receiver that loves the block. That helps Jeanty. Dante Thornton Jr., take your top off of a defense. That helps Jeanty. Even a guy like Tommy Millott, I think really helps a dude like Jeanty, where you're going to be having a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of confusion. And if you're a half a step late, not only is Jeanty going to run by you, he might run through you. And if you look right now at the NFL Rookie of the Year odds, Jeanty is the best odds at plus 250. However, though, Cam Ward's playing quarterback. Quarterbacks usually win these type of awards. He's at plus 300. Travis Hunter, what type of work is he going to get? It depends how much he plays on both sides of the football. Omari and Hampton, I hate to admit it, he's going to be in the mix here. Jackson Dart, Shador Sanders, there's a lot of other interesting names out there, but I do really believe that if he goes out there and he gets you 1,500 yards and the Raiders are somewhere around 8, 9, 10 wins, I think that Jeanty's got a shot to win NFL Rookie of the Year. If you think this guy right here, the dude that a lot of us have been hoping that the Raiders could get, and I'll admit, he was not my number 1 choice that I wanted in the draft, but if y'all don't think that I'm fired up that we have Ashton Jeanty, arguably the best running back in the NFL, on a rookie contract right now, you're kidding yourself. Comment Jeanty down below if you think this dude right here is going to win NFL Rookie of the Year. And you know what? If you're out there spamming Jeanty and you want to get your hands on a Raiders Jeanty jersey, go to chatsports.com/Jeanty. Or you can also go to chatsports.com/Raiders jersey. And either of those links should work. Now, I know some of you are going to be like, well, Mitch, he's not going to wear number 1. This is literally just a placeholder that the jerseys like to do, because essentially what ends up happening here is the Raiders haven't given him a number yet. And because the Raiders haven't given him a number yet, he's going to probably end up picking, at least I hope he gets number 2. I don't know. I'd be pretty upset if Daniel Carlson didn't give up number 2. But if he picks number 1, if he picks number 2, if he picks number 69, I don't care what it is, whatever the correct number will be, that's the number that's just going to be on your jersey. So don't worry, you will get the actual Ashton Jeanty jersey when he announces his number. So if you want to get your hands on that, it's chatsports.com/Jeanty, or we can also put that link for you down in the comments and down in the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/Raiders jerseys, which I believe that you can get to this through both. So chatsports.com/Jeanty, chatsports.com/Raiders jersey is how you can get your hands on a Jeanty jersey, which actually, funny enough, I was looking the other day at the top selling rookie jerseys, and Jeanty right now is 4th on that list. I want to get Jeanty at number 1 on that list. So if you can, let's get Ashton Jeanty to have the number 1 selling jersey, because I want to see people rocking the Jeanty jersey. And right now, as it stands, Jeanty is number 4, behind Shador, behind Cam Ward, behind Travis Hunter. So nation, chatsports.com/Jeanty, chatsports.com/Raiders jersey is how you're going to be able to get your hands on an Ashton Jeanty jersey. Let's keep it moving here on the Raiders report. And Amari Cooper, is he coming to Las Vegas? I saw a story out there the other day that said Amari Cooper was at Max Crosby's draft party, and because he was at Max Crosby's draft party, everybody's thinking the Raiders are going to go out and they're going to add Amari Cooper. Is he coming to Vegas? No. Tuck rule, tuck that. Not only do I think it would be idiotic for the Raiders to bring back Amari Cooper, I'm going to be real with you. I don't actually think Amari Cooper was at the Raiders draft party. And I say that because as soon as I saw this rumor, I started reaching out to people. And I said, was Amari at Max Crosby's draft party? And essentially what I was told was no. Amari Cooper was not at the draft party. So then I started thinking, well, why the hell would people think that Amari Cooper was at Max Crosby's draft party? I couldn't exactly think about it, right? And I think the other reason why it's not going to happen is because you drafted 3 wide receivers during the 2025 NFL draft. To me, though, like, the only thing that I can possibly come up with is I know Amari Gaynor was at the Raiders draft party. So knowing that Amari Gaynor was at the draft party, I almost wonder if like somebody was like, oh yeah, Amari's at the draft party. Too dumb to realize that it was Amari Gaynor and not Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper coming to the Raiders at this point, I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense. Though I will say this. If you were to tell me right now the Raiders sign a veteran wide receiver, the name that I'm going to go with is not Amari Cooper. The name that I would go with is Keenan Allen. But I'll also say this. I don't really think the Raiders are going to add another receiver. It's not that Keenan's not a good player, but this team values the guys that they have. They value Tommy Millott. They value Dante Thornton Jr. They value Jack Besh. And then obviously, you got Jacoby, you got Brock, you got Michael Mayer, you got Trey Tucker. I don't really think that there's a reason right now for you to go out and spend $10 million on Keenan Allen. I understand that he's got the connection with Chris Beatty, but if I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to spend money right now, there's 2 areas that the Raiders need to spend money. First, you better get that contract extension done with Kolton Miller. Second, you better get that contract extension done with Jacoby Myers, because I think both of those players not only deserve a contract, both of those players I want y'all to tie to Max, to tie to Pete Carroll, to tie to this organization. So before we start talking about going out and signing other players, let's get a deal done with Kolton. Let's get a deal done with Jacoby Myers, because we have the money to do it with $42 million overall for the Las Vegas Raiders. Appreciate everyone tuning in to the latest news and rumors. And if you missed it, we did do a live interview with Tommy Millott today on the Raiders Report.